Jared freaking Leto.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the middle name included.
A birth name, in fact.
You know, it is. So my mother said, Jared freaking Leto, get your ass over here.
And ever since then, you've known him for 30 Seconds to Mars and for playing the Batman.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute.
The Batman.
Oh, sorry, I'm actually getting my notes mixed up.
Yeah.
A lot of these questions are for Michael Keaton.
Yes, sorry about that.
We'll see how we can fare.
By the way, I mean, let's just give it up for Keaton. I think...
What a guy.
God, you know, my favorite one.
Keaton was your favorite Batman?
I mean, yeah, just because that was my era, and I loved him. Johnny Dangerously, you know, and then did the comeback with Birdman, just incredible.
Straight from the source, Jared Leto hanging out here in Columbus. What brings you here?
You know, just passing through and wanted to come say hi.
Cool.
We've come here so many times over the years. We've had great shows, and it's always a nice place to be.
Yeah, you've been walking around here for just a couple of seconds, and I've noticed that you're taking in a lot of the stuff on the walls, the kind of museum of it all. There have been so many bands that you said you've toured with, but in fact, you've been here before. It was 2005.
Yes.
I'm not asking you to remember it.
No, but there's evidence as well. There's something behind you. There's a tiny little helmet that's a 30 Seconds to Mars.
Wouldn't you know it?
A helmet there with a triad and some glyphics on top, some of the band symbols. And it's nice to come to a real radio station. This is feels like a real, you know, place with some history, with some weight. It's cool.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And we're glad that you're a part of that history. We do have, in fact, your performance from '05. I don't know if you keep any of those, if you have people that archive that sort of thing for you.
I wish I did, but it's just out there in the ether, I suppose, somewhere.
Yeah.
But maybe one day when I'm even older, I'll sit down and, you know, collect some of that stuff and organize it.
It does happen. We just had somebody reaching out from Guided by Voices and the Flaming Lips individually. We got to start collecting some of this stuff because it's lost to time.
Yeah, I think so. It's a nice thing to do, especially because there's so much content out there in the world, and you know there are ways to kind of take that stuff and share it with people. That's really nice.
For sure. Well, since that day in 2005, you've been up to a lot, and you've been up on top of a lot of things. I can't welcome you into the studio without asking you what it was like on top of the Empire State Building, and importantly, is anything else after that fun?
Probably not. You know, you have to just basically get some Pop-Tarts and watch Star Wars or something, you know, and just kind of cruise off into the sunset. It was an amazing thing to do. I really had a fascination with that building since I was a kid, and it was to launch our tour. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, it was just something kind of fun, a stunt to launch the tour, but it also was you know, something I always wanted to do.
Yeah, and you got to do it. You climbed all the way to the top and performed a song up there. There's clips of that floating around online.
Yeah, and I climbed today in Columbus, actually.
Ooh, no kidding. I was going to ask, because I mean, you're obviously a skilled climber in terms of what you were able to do on that building. But I did give it some research. Do you give any... how much of a climber would you consider yourself to be within the network, the community of climbers? Because I was kind of off-put by the Climbing Magazine article where the guy's like, oh, yeah, we can use this kind of rope, so that doesn't count.
There are certain standards in climbing, and maybe you find it even in music in some ways. I think you used to find it. Some of these rules have been broken, where it used to be a thing to record live. If you recorded this in a studio and you did multi-tracks and you did overdubs, you're cheating. Right. Or if you use synthesizers, you're cheating. And remember the big synth thing? I don't know if you recall or have read about this from, it was really the 80s when rock bands started using synthesizers. It was like you were the devil.
Yeah.
So I think part of what that was about was the fact that I had what's called a top rope on, and that was mandated by the city. Yeah. They actually didn't want me to fall and kill somebody.
Right.
They were less worried about me and more worried about the pedestrians. And you know, that's the only way you can do it. It's not climbable. It's not free soloable. It's impossible. My buddy Alex Honnold actually looked at it and said he didn't think it goes. So anyway, I think that's what that's about. But it was incredible and really fun, and I got to do it 2 days in a row. I actually climbed it twice. And I'd do it again tomorrow if I could.
Yeah, if Alex Honnold wouldn't free solo it, you've probably got to pass.
You probably got to pass unless you're just, ready to say goodbye and make a mess on the street in New York is kind of rude.
Yeah,
it's messy enough down there.
It'd be a pretty terrible day for a lot of people involved.
Hell.
A pretty good day for this guy on TikTok. I'd like to play you this soundbite. I didn't give you any headphones on the way in, but I saw this a number of days ago. I might just hand the headphones over and turn it up real loud. Perhaps you remember being at a celebrity charity event and a guy coming up to you and singing you this song about Requiem for a Dream.
There's a movie called Requiem for a Dream and you're in it.
Oh, yeah.
Right away.
I remember that. I remember him.
He remembers it immediately and right away.
Yeah.
And what I was blown away about is I always see this guy singing these songs to celebrities outside of events, and usually they're received neutrally, or somebody's like, I have no idea what's going on. But you were very kind to him. We cut off the sound clip, but you're like, you have a beautiful voice.
You got a great voice. You got a great voice. It's definitely a voice. Take your voice serious. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you could tell immediately that he was joking around, or he's a comedian singing a love ballad about Requiem for a Dream. It didn't. Yeah. It was it didn't take a lot to figure out he was doing something for social. But God bless him. I was actually struck by the tone in his voice, and I thought it was quite nice. And I'm always I default to trying to be to kindness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the world that we live in, I would like that to be my default, to be kind and to be supportive to people. It's hard enough out there in the world, whether you're a comedian or a singer or whatever it is. It's not an easy path, and I'm always happy to support folks when I can, and give them some kind words. There was a guy singing in the hotel before we came here. A beautiful voice.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Is he singing for you, or just happened to be around?
No, he's singing Christmas songs, and he's in the lobby, and you could tell he really loves singing, and it makes me grateful for the opportunities that I have. I'm acutely aware of how lucky my brother and I are, and 30 Seconds to Mars has been kind of exceeded every dream that we had. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing, to see people do what they're passionate about.
Very well said. We have Jared Leto from 30 Seconds to Mars here in the studio. I want to talk to you a little bit more about some other stuff that you've got going on, including the new record and perhaps a new film that you're working on. But first, I would like to throw it back. We did save the archives from 2005.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to play you what is potentially almost a 20-year-old recording, perhaps for the first time that you've heard it
Holy
since then.
Crap.
We're going to unearth the time capsule from the big room in 05. It's 30
I'm about
Seconds
to be
Mars,
embarrassed.
performing Capricorn.
No way. Oh, acoustic.
I will disappear. I told you once and I'll say it again. I want my message very clear. I'll show you the way I'm going, so I run and hide and tear myself up, start again with a brand new name, and eyes that see into infinity. I was almost there, just a moment away from becoming unclear. Ever get the feeling you're gone? I'll show you the way I'm going, so I run, hide, and tear myself up, start again with a brand new name and eyes that see into infinity.
improvising there.
Really?
It's not in the song. Yeah.
So I run high, set myself up, start again with a brand new name and eyes that see into infinity.
Wow.
I will disappear. I told you once and I say it again. I want my message read clear.
This is Jared from 30 Seconds to Mars, and I want to let everyone out there in Columbus know that this is the best station in the entire universe.
Thanks. That was a really kind thing of you to say just now and not 20 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. You know, you made me think about my entire life. Thank you for that. It's interesting to hear that. Really, I mean, it's raw, right? It's raw, and it's just me and a guitar. I don't think anybody else is there. It's just me, a guitar, and a voice, and there's no tricks, right? There's no reverb, there's no auto tune, there's no this, there's no that. So it's, I guess it's like an artifact.
Yeah, no synthesizers on that one.
No synths, as bad as I want them, no synths. I love a good synth. But, it's a wild thing to hear that, because if I had heard it sooner, I'd probably just be stung with all the mistakes or the imperfections. And now it's just it's nice to hear it, just as like a photograph.
Yeah. That's really well put. Jared Leto here in the studio today from 30 Seconds to Mars, just passing through, spending some time in Columbus. Thanks for having a couple of minutes with us. You're on to a tour with 30 Seconds to Mars. The new record is out this year. You're working on Tron. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, in January. Yeah, sure. I was a huge fan of the Tron from the 80s. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite films when I was a kid. It was like Blade Runner and Tron and Blade Runner and Tron. And, we've been developing this film for a number of years. And we're going to start shooting in January. It's the third in this series of this film. It's kind of a restart of the series. And, starting really, really soon.
Awesome. We look forward to that when it becomes available.
Basically in a couple of weeks, we'll be shooting, And then I have a tour in the middle of filming in South America. Cool. We're doing all the Lollapaloozas down there. And then starting in April, we start our world tour.
Nice. Well, we look forward to that. And we wish you safe travels out there on the road.
Thank you, brother.
Jared Leto from 30 Seconds to Mars. Before we cut you loose, a couple more things. One, I do have a quick little lightning round to run you through, some rapid fire questions.
Where are you from?
Columbus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting accent.
I feel studied.
Well,
in a certain way.
You are. You have been studied. You thought you were studying me, but I've been studying you.
From the minute that you walked in the door, Yeah, the eyes that pierced through to my soul.
That's it. The mullet, stash, the whole thing.
Well, I thought I was going to get in your head. Question number one, credit where it's due to one of my favorite writers, Scott Woods. What's your favorite chord? You know what? I would confess to you that I'm completely ignorant when it comes to music, and I purposely have kept it that way.
Wow. Whether I'm playing the piano, playing guitar, bass, I play everything well enough to suit my needs as a writer. Mm-hmm. And then I always, I never wanted to know very much. I saw early on that the friends of mine who knew how to play, 1,000 cover songs and every chord in the book, they struggled with writing. Mm-hmm. I don't know, there was something about being naive, about not knowing, hey, that's the same song, or those are the same three chords. I wouldn't be able to tell you what the three chords were. And, sometimes I even forget I play guitar or bass or piano or whatever. I don't really think of myself as a musician, maybe even, or a singer.
What do you think of yourself as?
Just a problem solver.
Okay. That's a good thing to be.
Yeah, I love to work and work hard and get things done. So you ever need something done, just let me know. Sure, you need that to-do list checked off?
Yeah, I got a fence out back.
Those last 40 emails, I'll help you get through them.
That'd be great.
But no, I don't know much about music theory, and I like it that way.
That is really fascinating to hear. Thanks for such a detailed response. Sometimes people just say, "See."
Oh,
so
this is the rapid fire. Okay,
no,
let's go. I forgot.
It doesn't need to be.
Too many flights. I forgot.
You got stuff to do, I'm sure. Do you have any plans for your birthday coming up in a couple of weeks?
You know, I don't. The birthday is usually pretty quiet. I'm often solo, and that's nice. That's okay for me. We've been traveling so much year. It's a beautiful thing. Like, you travel so much all year long. When it comes time to take a break, all you want to do is just, like I said before, Pop-Tarts and Star Wars or something. You wanted some variation of just like drifting off into oblivion.
I respect that. Question number 4 here, not to move on too abruptly. What's the most recent best thing you own? I'm not a big collector or owner of things. I like to give things away. I tried to give someone I never bought anything so nice in my life, actually. I actually bought someone a Rolex. Whoa.
And I gave it to this person. And the funny thing is they had to give it back because it was they didn't want to, there's some question if it could be, according to corporate guidelines, but we're friends, but we also are inadvertently in business together because this person owns a very, very large company that a lot of people are in business with. So they actually regretfully had to give it back to me. So now I'm stuck with this. I don't wear watches, but I have this very, very nice watch. I saw a guy last night on the television. He had like a bandana, long gray hair. He's like a hippie guy, and he went to one of those auction places, and he had a Rolex he bought for $347 that he kept in the box because he was like, "Oh, this is too expensive for me to ever wear," and he had the sticker on it and everything. He brought it to the auction, and the thing was worth $700,000.
Wow.
And he fell on the floor when they read on the price. He just fell off his chair.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
My God, how could
So
you
maybe
not?
one day, I'll be... but yeah, I don't really...
I didn't expect you to be too much of a things guy, just on fire.
Yeah, I'm really not. I don't have a thing for cars. I don't have watches. I don't have a lot of that stuff. I'm not big on shopping. I don't like to shop. It's my least favorite thing to do. I rarely ever do it.
Speaking of, before we let you loose, speaking of spending large sums of money, I don't know if this would be an uncouth suggestion, but you have found us during our charity marathon, raising some money for the kids, and I can't let you go without asking out, do you got any spare change that you might want to donate to hear a song?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There actually is some.
Yeah. No, here. I'm happy to share everything I have with you.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Those pockets are deep.
Yeah.
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Carries quite. That's an absurd amount of change, sir.
My pleasure.
It's all for the kids.
It was hell to get through security at the airport.
Yeah. To say the least. You're like 10 pounds lighter now. That must feel good.
It always feels good.
A weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jared Leto, for stopping on by and spending some time with us. Have a great rest of your night on this vacation town, Columbus, Ohio.
This is my absolute pleasure. What's the name of the charity again?
Oh, yeah, it's the Andyman-a-Thon for the kids. Central Ohio Children's Charities for like mental health and stuff.
Well, why don't we put another $1,000 on top of it?
That'd be very generous.
Yeah.
Thank you. 1,000 and then probably that 98 cents worth of change.
Yeah.
If not more than it's all pennies.
$1,098.99. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
I'm happy to contribute.
Thank you to Jared Leto for stopping on in.
Thank you, brother.